shop online at GeraldJonesFord.com. Closed captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
In the last week, 4 people have died in 2 separate Aiken County murder-suicides, both happening in just a 24-hour period. The sheriff's office says they responded to the first Thursday afternoon on Summerhill Avenue, the second one on Pelzer Street Friday evening.
The National Domestic Violence Hotline says nearly 30% of women and 10% of men in the country have experienced some form of domestic violence.
They say in domestic situations where there's already a gun in the home, chances for a woman to be killed with it go up by 500%. The Aiken County coroner says both of last week's cases were domestic and ended up with men shooting their partner before shooting themselves. Will Radio spoke with the sheriff's office and local organizations today to find out how they're working to keep tragic situations like these from escalating.
Yeah, and to put some numbers behind what we're seeing, in South Carolina, there are 80,000 victims of domestic violence every year. South Carolina has the 10th highest rate of female homicides in the U.S. for the last 17 years. Georgia ranks just as high for domestic violence homicides over the last few years. The color purple that you see here is a symbol for law enforcement and advocacy centers that say they're working to change those numbers. The color purple covers the walls at Safe Home Augusta, where they work to prevent tragedies like we saw in Aiken County.
Seeing what's happening, it's really sad. It's really sad. It really hits close to home.
That's because she's seen domestic violence firsthand in her home growing up.
There was items being thrown in the house. There was holes punched in the wall. There was clothes being thrown out in the yard.
They're only seeing more and more victims looking for help.
As of right now, we're at full capacity, just as other domestic violence organizations in our area are too.
Over the past 3 years, the Aiken County Sheriff's Office says more than 8,000 service calls came through for domestic situations. Their deputies are trained annually for those calls.
We try to stay up to speed on all things that when it comes to responding to domestic violence.
The Sheriff's Office says they work with local agencies to ensure victims are receiving help.
We try to stay up to speed on keeping our connections alive.
They hope those agencies can reduce the number of victims we see.
We want them to know that there is help out there for them and people that care.
Well, there are resources out there for you to contact if you need help. The Safe Homes of Augusta's crisis hotline is 706-736-2499. There's also counseling, support groups, 30-day emergency sheltering, and life skill classes if anyone needs help.
And the Cumbie Center in Aiken, that's another local resource that may be able to help survivors. They have emergency shelters, counseling for victims, and they have an emergency hotline you can call as well. That number is 803-649-0480. The center's on Buford Street. It's right next to the Aiken County Health Department if you need help. And we've also done some homework to find some of the red flags you may want to pay attention to in your own relationship. If a partner is degrading you in front of friends or family on a regular basis, or stopping you from spending time away from them, that could be a warning sign. If they've ever threatened you with weapons or trying to take your kids or pets away, you might also need to seek help. If you want to see a full list of some possible red flags, these are up on the hotline.org website. It's the National Domestic Violence Hotline website, but it's kind of disguised as thehotline.org.
Good advice there. Much more news to come. Let's give you a live look outside the studio.
Weather chances as well in just about 10 minutes.
Riley, thank you. Augusta City leaders continuing talks this afternoon over how to use $1 million in American Rescue Plan funds for our local parks.
Last week, the debate included money for a barbecue pit near Lake Homestead Stadium, bathroom upgrades for Diamond Lakes, and money for the Riverwalk. But today, commissioners decided the Riverwalk would get the bulk of that $700,000 out of the $1 million in funding.
Craig Allison live in our newsroom now. Craig, with most of that money going to the Riverwalk, what's going to change? Obviously not in our newsroom out there weathering the storm as the rain comes over, but what's going to change with these new figures, Craig?
Alrighty, well, it looks like the priority is going to be on Riverwalk, like you just said, and it looks like as well there isn't going to be any sort of mention towards the barbecue pit that was brought up, but the other funding will go towards projects like Diamond Lakes and the Saturday Market.
When people come to Augusta, they are going to go down to the Riverwalk before they're going to go to the barbecue pit.
One of Augusta's most iconic tourist attractions, the Riverwalk, is one step closer to receiving some funding. There was debate between Director McDowell and commissioners at last week's committee meeting, bringing up funding needs from tennis courts at Diamond Lakes to the barbecue pit near Lake Olmsted.
Barbecue pit does need some work. Does it need it right now, this moment? No, it doesn't.
The rest of commission agreed, voting unanimously to move $700,000 of ARP funding towards helping the Riverwalk.
If you look at the entire body of Riverwalk, there's some serious structural issues that need to be remedied if we're going to continue to move forward.
They voted to approve the $700,000 so Parks and Rec can move forward with getting estimates to fix things like temporary fencing, trees uprooting the walkway, and flooding.
It brings in money. You've got the restaurants downtown, and people like to take a stroll in the afternoon, evenings.
Craig Allison reporting for us there. Also out of commission, city leaders will meet with Gold Cross in the next 7 to 10 days to continue contract talks. Commissioner John Clark says he still needs answers before he's ready to commit to giving Gold Cross more money.
We want to know how many ambulances are going to be dedicated per 24-hour period to the emergency calls and the benefit of the citizens of Augusta. Right now, we do not have that.
And the plan is for commissioners to speak with Gold Cross attorneys. They say they hope to have an update on the contract by the next commission meeting.
Looking at the latest on gas prices, AAA says the country hit a new all-time high today. The average price for a gallon of gas now sitting just under $5 a gallon. In Georgia, we're doing a lot better with that average at just over $4.30 a gallon, but we do have that gas tax suspension that's helping us out. If Governor Kemp does not extend it again like he's done once before already, gas could go back up another 30 cents when that suspension expires in mid-July. In South Carolina, gas is about 20 cents higher, just under $4.52 a gallon. But starting next month, the state's gas tax, that'll go up another 2 cents, making the total tax 28 cents a gallon. It's gone up every year since 2017, and that money is money the state gets from the gas tax. It's supposed to go towards improving roads and bridges in the Palmetto State. When asked today about providing relief at the pump, here's what McMaster had to say.
Again, that's not the answer. We have projects that need to be built that are dependent on that state law, and it's not that state law that's causing the problem.
We took a deeper look at how that money is helping our local roads. Aiken County set to get over $63 million in funding. More than $50 million of that will go towards repaving projects. The rest will go towards rural road infrastructure, say that 5 times fast, and bridges. Some of the main roads getting attention are Edgefield, Jefferson Davis, and Columbia Highway. But we know South Carolina has some rough roads out there.
Lots of needs there. Looking live now over the gateway to Grovetown, just off I-20, as progress continues on the Lewiston Road widening project. Plans to expand that road from 2 to 4 lanes have been in the works since 2016, and the traffic's just getting worse. Sloan O'Cone live there at the construction site. So Sloan, for people who travel in that area, they know traffic can get really backed up, especially this time of day. How will this new design help out?
Well, the new design is expected to expand the road from 2 to 4 lanes. You can see the cars all lining up behind me right now. There's a pretty good flow happening. The construction that was taking place out here was primarily off the exit. They're still working. They're looking like they're wrapping up pretty soon, but I want to move y'all's attention down this way where you can see traffic is completely backed up, and that's because a lot of the lane closures over there, you can see traffic is merging across the lane. So for anyone who lives out here or is just coming out for a quick bite to eat, you know there's nothing fast about it, but that's exactly what Columbia County is working to change. The $34 million project is set to widen Lewiston Road from 2 lanes to 4. The biggest change, the diverging diamonds where you can see here, helps keep an almost continuous flow of traffic compared to the current backup we see from stop-and-go traffic. I think most of us can agree traffic can be a bit of a headache, but I spoke to one Grovetown driver who's focusing on the long-term benefits.
What a perfect way to show some patience on the road, maybe show some, generosity, maybe, self-control on the road, get some understanding. We understand them, they understand us, and we're all working for the same goal.
And that goal is an easier commute or trip to the grocery store.
I'm almost almost 100% sure everything's gonna be easy peasy as soon as, we get done with it. But right now we're going through, you know what I'm saying? We gotta break a couple eggs to make the omelet.
They're building this, anticipating average daily traffic to be over 38,000 cars here by 2041.
It's more or less, hey y'all, it's almost done. Hey, they're doing a good job. It's almost done.
And Columbia County says right now the contractor is working on laying storm drain pipes and building blocks. As you can see behind us, their next steps are working to construct the exits and then moving over to bridge work. And they hope to have the entirety of the project complete by the beginning or early next year. Okay, I know a lot of drivers are looking forward to the end of that, Sloan. Thank you. To sports now, and Dustin Johnson resigns from the PGA Tour, plus U.S. Open news, including Tiger and Phil. Next with Nick.
And we do have a low-end severe weather threat heading into our Wednesday. We'll give you an update from the Storm Prediction Center and our forecast for the rest of the week just after the break. Even the weekend, morning temps going to be close to 70 the next couple of days, and then once again for the weekend, Saturday a little bit wetter than Sunday.
On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
It's been quite a week in golf after the field for the new LIV Tour's first event was announced. The PGA Tour still hasn't said exactly what will happen to players who teed up this weekend in London, other than they're subject to some sort of punishment. But with the U.S. Open coming up this month, the USGA announced their decision on who can play in that event. Today, the USGA releasing this statement saying everyone who has qualified for this year's U.S. Open will be allowed to play, regardless of what tour they're on. That means DJ, Phil, Louis Oosthuizen, the other LIV guys are able to tee it up next weekend in Massachusetts. Dustin Johnson spoke today for the first time since joining the LIV field, and he had a big announcement to make regarding his PGA Tour status.
Obviously at this time it's hard to speak on what the consequences will be, but for right now, I resign my membership from the tour. I'm going to play here, for now, and that's the plan. But what the consequences are going to be, obviously I can't comment on how the tour is going to handle.
One guy who will not be playing in the U.S. Open is Tiger Woods. Tiger making that announcement on Twitter today, saying he needs more time to heal and strengthen that leg. Tiger withdrew from the PGA Championship last month after shooting a career-high 79 in the third round. He says he hopes to play the J.P. McManus Pro-Am and the Open Championship next month.
2 out of 3 of our largest local sheriff's offices already use body cams. Why Columbia County is investing money into a use of force data app instead, coming up.
The Live by Camera Network is brought to you.
Take care of the rest.
Our first alert commitment to you is now 5 meteorologists, all the tools, the latest technology, and the largest team of 5 meteorologists. News 12, NBC 26 First Alert Weather on your side.
For years, we've seen a push by some of our local communities for deputies to wear body cameras. 3 out of our 3 biggest sheriff's offices, only Richmond, Aiken County deputies use them right now.
Columbia County is not one of them, but today the Columbia County Sheriff's Office announced an investment into a new app for deputies to collect data after use of force cases. But the sheriff told our Claire Allen he cannot justify the cost of body cams.
Over the last 2.5 years, we found 100 use of cases in the Columbia County Jail and about 63 out in Columbia County. So this is an app that will get a lot of use. The Sheriff's Office will be the first agency in the U.S. to use the Then Blue Defend app.
It's not popular to be a law enforcement officer today because of what we're seeing happen over the last couple of years of these constant prosecutions of officers when it's not correct.
Sheriff Clay Riddle says he is down 47 people in his agency and is hoping a newly developed app will give officers a safety net.
This app was developed for the defense of officers.
Douglas Parker is a 30-year veteran of the GBI. He developed the Then Blue Defend app.
We have a way to collect information from a critical incident, collect it properly, and use that information for reports.
He created the app after a former police officer was found not guilty of murder after shooting someone in 2018.
The officer has to explain his or her actions for taking somebody's life or using force.
Many officers are taught to be brief when documenting use of force incidents, and were never trained to document the why.
We've realized over the years that we need to capture more data.
We asked the sheriff why not use body cams to help.
It has a very limited view of a 360-degree world, and it doesn't fully capture exactly what takes place with the officer.
He says another factor is budget.
The cost associated with it for storage, for retrieval, those hidden costs are what are truly expensive for body cams, and I just can't justify that cost.
The app will cost the county $32,000, and that covers all 320 certified deputies.
All right, thank you for looking into that for us, Claire. We are keeping an eye on some downpours now moving away from downtown Augusta. So if you are looking to head outside inside Bobby Jones, we do look drier for the next hour. So now look at that forecast for you this after the break.
Watch 12.